G'day guys, Graham20 here, doing a video response for the ThePanoyMamba's competition for the top 10 NBA players of all time. First of all, shout out to Eric and Joshua for running this competition. Always up for a good competition, and this is one that's definitely going to spark a lot of debate, I'm sure. But yeah, thanks guys, love watching your videos. And you know, it's great to have you in the community, and you a tribute to the community. There we go. Alright, so I'll get it started. I've done a bit of a PowerPoint presentation to make it easy for me. So my top 10, I've started off with number 10. I've gone with Karl Malone, the mailman. Career stats: 24.2, 9.6 rebounds a game, 3.4 assists, and 1.4 steals. I'm tending to try and do my top 10. I haven't used too many old school players, real old school, as in black and white days, mainly because I haven't seen a lot of the games where they've played, and also, yeah, so it's hard to comment about games I haven't seen or seen them play too much, just in highlights. But I've tried to pick players that, in my feeling, are all-time greats and have changed the game in some way. And I think Karl Malone is the standard for a power forward. Just a dominant player throughout his career, and very underrated, actually, I will say, overall. I think anyway, because he was, I mean, they called him the mailman because he delivered, and that's the thing. He wouldn't have a game where he'd have 8 points and 5 rebounds. He just wouldn't do it. It was very consistent. He wouldn't have the 50-point games and the 20 rebounds to boost up your stats. It was 24, 28, 22, 31 points a game. He was always between 20 and 30. And he always hit the big shots. So Karl Malone's in my top 10. Slid in at number 10. Number 9. Robin to the Batman. So his partner in crime, John Stockton, is the quintessential point guard. Once again, even though he's a Hall of Famer, I think people still underrate John Stockton. The fact that he can go career averaging a double-double with assists is phenomenal. Also got some boards in there as well. Averaged almost 2 steals a game. But you just know when Stockton had the ball, he controlled the team. A lot of respect for that, and just the fact he's going to pass it. He's going to get the ball to the open player. And he did it every single night, like Karl Malone. He'd every now and again he'd have his big points games where he might score 20, 25, but he would always give out the 10 assists, and it was just phenomenal, just incredible player. Number 8, staying on the theme of changing the game, I only go with Shaq, and the only reason I didn't rate him higher is because of he became a bit of a journeyman. This is probably just me, but I sort of tend to lose a little bit of respect for players that travel around in the search of a championship. I so wish he'd stayed with Orlando with Penny and won a championship there, but that wasn't to be. But yeah, I mean, you can't deny Shaq, the Diesel, whatever you want to call him. I mean, 23.7 points a game career, almost 11 boards, still 2.5 assists and almost 2.5 blocks. But the one thing I will say about Shaq is that he did change the game. He was a dominant force down low, and that's not something that had been seen since Wilt Chamberlain. But basketball was a lot bigger, so when he came along in the 90s, he was playing against some incredible players, and he changed that role. He changed the position. So he got my vote as number 8. Number 7, I've gone with Kobe. He actually stayed with the one team. 25.5 points, 5.3 rebounds, and almost 5.3 rebounds. I've got rebounds 5.8 there, but I think that's assists and 1.5 steals. Big time player. He's got the rings, got the MVPs. He's got He's got it all. Very complete player, and the type of player that you can't leave alone. He will burn you in the big games. So absolutely love Kobe. And number 7. Number 6 I've given to LeBron. This is the one person that's still current that I can say can still move up. I mean, LeBron is an absolute monster. And you talk about changing the game. I mean, he has blown the game apart of what the quintessential power forward or small forward or point guard or whatever he is. He has just become the all-round machine and is just phenomenal. 27.6, 7.3 boards, almost 7 assists, 1.7 steals. But he just does it all. And as I said, I think you throw another 3 or 4 rings on his fingers and that's going to happen. He's definitely going to move up. He is just phenomenal. Now the old school, I've gone with Bill Russell. Obviously 11 rings, everyone knows that. But just having a quick look at his stats. 15.1 points per game. Yep, that's pretty good. 22.5 boards. You talk about a player who changed the game, and he and the person who's next actually changed the game in the same era. And 4.3 assists too. So he wasn't just, he was a team player, and he did the hard stuff. Rebounds aren't easy, but he did it, and he's got 11 rings to show for it. So he got my number 5 spot. It was difficult. Number 4, I've got Wilt. To be honest, I only gave him the 4 spot because of the stats. 30.1 points per game, 22.9 rebounds, 4.4 assists. Very similar to Russell, except he's obviously scoring a lot more points. Doesn't have the rings though. If it was me and I was to pick a career, I would choose Russell every day of the week. You can have your 15 extra points, give me those rings. So yes, he is an all-time phenomenal player, but that's why I've put him up because of the stats. So everyone knows about the 100-point game. Once again, you've got to measure a player against the competition. But yep, he got number 4. Number 3, and once again, this was almost impossible to decide. I've chosen Larry Bird in number 3. 24.3 points per game, 10 rebounds a game, 6.3 assists, just under 2 steals. I mean, what can you say about Larry? Big game player, wanted the ball, wanted the shot, played for the team, gave 100%. I mean, if you model your game, or anyone models a game on Larry Bird, you're going to be successful because he gives everything every time he stepped on the floor, and I can't say enough about Larry. He is just phenomenal. Number 2, I've given to Magic. And the only reason I've given him number 2 above Larry, it was very tough. That probably took me about 10 minutes to actually decide which slide to put where. But 19.5 points per game, 11.2 assists. I mean, that's just crazy. 7.2 rebounds a game as well, and almost 2 steals. It's just crazy. But once again, you talk about players that have changed the game. I mean, Magic brought the game into the 80s. Magic brought the game onto TV, and Larry as well. But Showtime, I mean, I grew up in the 80s. So, I mean, Showtime was basketball, and it just revolutionised the game and just changed it, and he is a legend. Absolutely. And he would have passed Stockton if he'd played enough games, but just an incredible player, could do it all. Last of all, no big surprise here. Gone number 1, Michael Jordan. I've named my firstborn son after him, Jordan, so that shows how high I regard him. But I've only got a few seconds here. 30.1 points, 6.2, 5.3, 2.3. The stats don't say it all championship rings, MVPs, finals MVPs, defensive player of the year. Alright, I'm running out of time. Thanks for the competition, Eric and Joshua. Really appreciate it. And yeah. Cheers, guys.